So let me get this straight. Steven Guilbeault, Canada's Environment Minister, the guy who literally chained himself to the CN Tower back in the day for climate activism, just rage quit cabinet over an oil pipeline deal. And the response from his Liberal buddies? Great guy, amazing contributions, world's different now, gotta move on. I'm sorry, did I just witness a political breakup via press conference? Because that's what this feels like. It's giving it's not you, it's me energy, except it's definitely you, and everyone knows it. Welcome back to Canadian Insights, where we break down the chaos of Canadian politics so you don't have to. And folks, this story? This is the political equivalent of watching someone quit their job in the group chat. Dramatic, awkward, and absolutely loaded with subtext. Steven Guilbeault didn't just step down. He walked out the door, slammed it behind him, and left a note that basically said I can't support this pipeline nonsense. Meanwhile, his former colleagues are standing there like, yeah, he was cool, but also we signed a deal with Alberta, so like, priorities. Let's unpack this absolute mess. Steven Guilbeault has been the Environment Minister since 2021, and if you know anything about his background, you know this resignation isn't exactly shocking. This is the same guy who scaled the CN Tower with Greenpeace to protest climate change. The man has literally put his life on the line for environmental causes. So when the Liberal government decided to cozy up with Alberta over a new oil pipeline roadmap, Guilbeault looked at that deal, looked at his principles, and said I'm out. He released a statement saying he strongly opposes the deal, which in political speak translates to this is garbage and I want no part of it. Now here's where it gets spicy. Prime Minister Mark Carney, who by the way just became Prime Minister after Trudeau's exit, released his own statement thanking Guilbeault for his counsel and saying he's been deeply grateful for his advice. Which is nice and all, but you have to wonder how grateful you actually are for someone's environmental counsel when you're literally signing off on an oil pipeline deal they despise. It's like thanking your personal trainer while eating a double cheeseburger. The words are there, the sincerity is questionable. But wait, it gets better. Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne, speaking to reporters in Halifax, called Guilbeault a great friend and praised his contributions to the country. Champagne said Guilbeault will continue to contribute as a member of the Liberal caucus, which is political code for his not leaving the party entirely, just the cool kids table. But then Champagne pivoted, as politicians do, to explain why this pipeline deal is actually super important. He said the agreement with Alberta ensures Canada can be a responsible and sustainable energy producer. Responsible and sustainable. Those are the magic words. Slap those adjectives on an oil pipeline and suddenly it sounds way less problematic, right? It's like calling fast food a balanced meal because it has lettuce. Here's the thing though. Champagne isn't wrong that the world has changed. Canada's in a weird spot right now. We've got climate commitments on one hand and economic realities on the other. Alberta's economy is heavily tied to oil and gas. The province has been screaming for pipeline access for years. And with a new Prime Minister trying to hold the country together, making nice with Alberta isn't just politics, it's survival. But that doesn't make it any less awkward when your Environment Minister, the literal symbol of your climate credibility, walks away because he can't stomach the compromise. Let's talk about what this deal actually means because the details matter here. The Ottawa-Alberta roadmap isn't just about one pipeline. It's about establishing a framework for energy development that Alberta has been demanding and that environmental advocates have been dreading. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith has been pushing hard for more pipeline capacity to get oil to international markets. She argues, and Champagne echoed this, that Canada can produce oil more responsibly than other countries. The logic is that if the world's going to consume oil anyway, and let's be real it is for the foreseeable future, then Canadian oil is the cleaner option. It's harm reduction but for fossil fuels. But here's where Guilbeault and a lot of environmental groups push back. They argue that building new fossil fuel infrastructure in 2025, when we're supposed to be transitioning away from oil and gas, sends exactly the wrong message. It's like saying you're quitting smoking while buying a carton of cigarettes. Sure, you might quit eventually, but the optics are terrible. And for Guilbeault, who spent his entire career fighting for aggressive climate action, this deal was a bridge too far. He couldn't stand at a podium and defend it. So he didn't. Now let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say the pipeline in the prairies. This resignation is a massive headache for Mark Carney's government. Carney just took over as Prime Minister and is trying to unite a fractured Liberal Party while also appealing to voters who are increasingly frustrated with Liberal leadership. Losing your Environment Minister over an energy deal is not the kind of headline you want in your first few weeks. It signals division. It tells voters that even within the party, people can't agree on the path forward. And it gives the Conservatives and NDP all the ammunition they need to attack the Liberals from both sides. The Conservatives will say the Liberals are too weak on energy development. The NDP will say they've abandoned their climate commitments. And Carney's stuck in the middle trying to convince everyone he's got this under control. But here's what's really fascinating about all this. Guilbeault isn't leaving the Liberal caucus. He's staying as a backbench MP. Which means he's still in the room, he's still voting, he's still part of the team. He just doesn't want his name attached to this specific policy. It's the political equivalent of being in the group project but refusing to present because you disagree with the final slides. And honestly, that takes guts. He could have quietly swallowed his objections, stayed in cabinet, collected his ministerial salary, and avoided the drama. Instead, he made a public stand. Whether you agree with him or not, you have to respect the principle of it. So what happens next? Well, Carney needs to appoint a new environment minister, and whoever takes that job is walking into a minefield. They'll have to defend this pipeline deal while also maintaining Canada's climate credibility on the international stage. Good luck with that balancing act. Meanwhile, Guilbeault becomes a wild card. He's free to speak his mind without the constraints of cabinet solidarity. He can be the voice of the environmental wing of the Liberal Party, the conscience that keeps them honest, or at least tries to. And Alberta? Alberta's probably thrilled. They finally got the federal government to play ball on energy, even if it cost the Liberals one of their most high-profile ministers. The bigger picture here is that this fight isn't going away. Canada's caught between its climate ambitions and its economic dependence on resource extraction. Every government has to navigate that tension, and it never gets easier. The Liberals are trying to thread the needle, keep everyone happy, and inevitably they're making nobody happy. That's politics, baby. So here's my take. Guilbeault's resignation is a reminder that sometimes principles matter more than power. He looked at the deal, looked at his values, and chose his values. That's rare in politics. But it also highlights how messy and contradictory governing actually is. Easy answers don't exist. You can't just turn off the oil economy overnight. You also can't ignore the climate crisis. And when you try to split the difference, someone's walking away angry. Alright, that's the breakdown. Steven Guilbeault is out of cabinet, the Liberals are defending a pipeline deal, and Canadian politics just got a whole lot more interesting. If you want to stay updated on all the chaos, drama, and policy debates happening in Ottawa, make sure you're subscribed to Canadian Insights because trust me, we post multiple times a day and there's always something wild going on. Hit that like button if you appreciate the no-nonsense breakdown, drop a comment telling me whether you think Guilbeault made the right call or if he should have stayed and fought from the inside, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay informed, stay skeptical, and keep watching.